Hey everybody, welcome back to 13 Rings at NFC East podcast. We are recording post-draft Wednesday after the draft. It's almost been a full week since week 1. We've had time to, look at the tape, look at the results and come up with our own opinions. Now, we're just going to get right into it with Mal, Maurice and Earl, our experts on each of these fandoms here. So, we're going to get into the evaluations here. And I guess not to toot my own horn, but we're going to start with the Commanders first here. So, Commanders, we went with the guy that I've been hoping and praying for my whole entire life, a franchise quarterback, and Jaden McDaniels, number 2 from LSU. I think that was the slam dunk pick. I mean, it doesn't seem like I just everything was lining up for Jaden Daniels. Commanders played it close to the vest. Kudos to them. That's the way an organization should do it. Let's get to the next pick, 36. The Commanders took nose tackle Jerson Newton from Illinois, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Really aggressive getting up the hill there. Can get some sacks in. I like the move, especially because Jonathan Allen's going to be off the books after. His contract's no longer guaranteed after next year. So I could see us moving on, on from Allen and going with Newton. I think that's the play there.
Wait a minute, Lucas. Not to cut you off, but I think at this point in time for the listeners at home, at this point in time, Lucas was calling me.
We were still, we were calling, yeah.
Yeah, this is second round.
The second round, yeah.
Yeah. So you were calling me, asking me why aren't they not going offensive line? Correct.
Yeah, I was, and that's going to go into my grades later on. But
Okay.
Apparently this Newton kid was ranked as like a top 15 prospect for us to get him at a second round rate, steal, absolute steal. I don't hate the move.
Okay.
Now that I've had time to, marinate in it a little bit. Now, obviously, knee jerk reaction is knee jerk reaction. Speaking of, we traded the 40th pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. We got there to, hey, I think it's a win-win for both sides. Not going to hate it there. But we got the 50th and 53rd pick in the wow, I just noticed a typo with our graphic. I put 53rd, not third, but I put TH instead of RD at the end of 53rd. Nobody's perfect. Anyway, so we got those 2 picks. We also sent our 78th, and we sent, I think, 153 to you guys, and we got back 161 as well. So with that in mind, with the 50th pick, we got arguably the best nickel corner in the whole entire draft. And Mike, can you guys help me pronounce his name? Because I have no idea how to pronounce this kid's last name. Is it
Earl?
Earl? How do you pronounce this Michigan's guy's name? Mikey what?
I think it's Styskin, but I told you, Lucas, I call him Sheboygan.
Like Sheboygan, Wisconsin. I can't.
I don't think it's that. Though I have family that's in Shamokin, Pennsylvania, so it's close. No, I think it's in Rice too.
Hold on. Let me get a image of this. Hold on, give me a second.
Anyway, he's the best nickel corner in the whole entire draft. I love the move. I think it's a good move.
It's Shinice
Sinrice who knows? We're gonna figure it out eventually. But in the meantime,
can I call him Shoryuken?
No. You've been playing Mortal Kombat again, haven't you?
Technically, that's Street Fighter.
You're right. It is Street Fighter. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, no, great value pick again. You could make the argument that he led the defense on the Michigan team. And then we got Ben Sinnott, a.k.a. maybe the next coming of Chris Cooley. Yes, I said it. I'll say it again with my chest. This guy can play fullback and tight end, which, of course, Washington great Chris Cooley did. I want him to wear a number in the 40s. I know people want him like a teens or a single digit. No, get that man a number in the 40s. Give him like 40 or 44. Give him a fun number like that. Let him play tight end and fullback. I am down for it. He can block. He can catch. He's an athlete. One of those dual threat tight ends that can both block and catch. I'm all for it. And this is the pick. This next guy. So, and after post draft, the front office was saying we were getting guys who are captains, who are leaders, who fit the quote unquote commander tag. They actually tagged players that fit that tag. So Ben Sinnott was definitely on that. Now here's the pick, and Earl, I'm going to need your expertise here because you are a TCU fan, are you not?
I am.
Okay, so with the 67th pick, the Washington Commanders select Brandon Coleman out of TCU, offensive tackle. They listed him as a tackle when they drafted him. Now, he has played both guard and tackle in college, most recently guard, correct?
That is true.
So tell me a little bit about him, please, because I am, for those that know, we had Rio on last pod, and if you listen to his pod recently, he is wishy-washy about Brandon Coleman. I am a bit nervous myself. Earl, can you help bring me to ease?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Brandon Coleman, he was interchangeable on the line for TCU over the last couple of years. It's where he has the physicality. Normally, when he does his blocking, he likes to throw the defenders on the ground, make them eat dirt. That's something you would like in a tackle as well. Even if plugging him in at guard, he can move the furniture, basically move him out the way, put him in the dirt, make him eat grass, get him off the field. He's had his growing pains, but at the same time, overall, with good teaching for him, especially with his hand movements, I would say he needs to hang under Duke Manyweather, who is basically a guru for offensive guards and tackles and centers, working with their hand motions and getting them in better position to be a better lineman. Coleman has upsides. I believe Washington's got to be patient with him. Get him out there early. Let him have his growing pains. I'm gonna talk about growing pains later when I talk, but for him, just let him get his feet wet and get him acclimated in the offensive line that will hopefully help you guys moving forward. But where y'all picked him up at, that's not a bad area to pick up Coleman, because I feel like this draft had a ton of tackles and guards and then lesser of centers. But for him to be able to be plugged in either as a guard or a tackle, you got a guy that's interchangeable.
Fair enough. And then another pick that in my mock draft, I said the Commanders would go over after Luke McCaffrey. I was right, just not the right pick. They got him with the last pick of the third round, the 100th pick, Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver out of Rice. The guy, they're projecting him to be a slot receiver as number 3. I kind of thought of him more as a punt returner, but he could still very much well do that. Special teams guy, but it seems like he is projected to have a much bigger role than what I initially thought in the overall offense. I guess that means they're also projecting high on Jahad Dotson as well. We will see. Luke McCaffrey is ran a faster time than his brother in the combine, and he is just elusive as his brother as well. So we are high on the upside there. I still think worst case scenario, he is a punt / kickoff returner, which is still solid. Then we will go to 139th pick. We got linebacker Jordan McGee. It's not like we didn't have enough linebackers already. It's not to say that McGee isn't a good player. From what I've seen, he is versatile. He can get after the quarterback. But it just felt like despite going mostly defense in free agency, we spent only 1, 2, 3 picks on offense in a draft that we had a total of near 10 picks. So I'm not thrilled about that. But like I said, McGee is versatile. I think he fits into that linebacker safety hybrid position. I know the next pick certainly does. Speaking of the next pick, we got safety Dominique Hampton from Washington with the 161st pick. I like the pick. Yet again, that hybrid safety that Dan Quinn seems to love so much. Can definitely get his hands on the ball. We will see how that translates. He could be a day one starter. We will see. We will just have to see whether or not he can beat out Jeremy Chin or if Chin gets injured. Last pick, and Mal, I might need a little bit because I've only seen limited video on this guy.
Okay.
With the 222nd pick, Washington's Commanders picked Javonte Jean-Baptiste from Notre Dame. Edge. So, what can you tell me about Jean-Baptiste? Am I saying his name correctly too?
Yes, Jean-Baptiste. So he's not a bad player. What round did you guys select him in again?
The last round.
Yeah, I mean, I really think you're probably just drafting him for depth at this point because I can't see him competing to be a starter, at least not right now. Very physical.
Most videos said that he was very raw as a talent.
Yes, he is a raw talent. He just has to fix up a few things, but I think give him some time, see how he does on the practice squad for a bit. Maybe some good depth, but for the most part, not a bad pick. You know I love my Irish, so.
I know you do, and well, we'll save our undrafted free agents for next pod because we snatched up another one of your Irish too, but we'll save that for next pod. That being said, that's all I have to say about the draft. Overall, the players that we got are solid. I wish that we would have focused a little bit more on the offensive end. But it's clear that Adam Peters is going with best player available and who fits the culture versus need. And I suppose that is a good thing. That being said, I feel like the defense is going to be much more overpowered than the offense is this season. And we will see how that results out on the field. I'm going to go ahead and hand the ball off to whoever is next, which is Mal. I'm interested to see your opinion about your draft. You only had about 6 picks.
Yeah, we didn't have many picks, but let's dive into it real quick. So with the 6th overall pick in the NFL draft, the New York Giants selected wide receiver Malik Nabers from LSU.
So when you got the text from Maurice, how did that make you feel? Did you feel a little bit better about it?
Oh, yeah, I was relieved. I did not want to reach on J.J. McCarthy. And honestly, like, even Penix went so early. So I'm kind of glad we kind of just went with Nabers there. In the end, like, listen, I know the quarterback controversy in New York. I know what's going on with Daniel Jones's health. But we've needed a wide receiver for I don't even know how long at this point. Probably since we drafted Odell Beckham Jr. And that was a long time ago at this point. So it
10
was
years ago, and an LSU wide receiver in the first round.
Yep. So that was actually pretty cool. But yeah, no doubt that wide receiver was a huge need. Even though the quarterback position remains a concern, adding Nabers is just a good pick. So I was totally fine with that. Totally happy to have him on the squad. Now, the Giants only had 1 pick in round 2. And with the 47th pick, the Giants selected safety Tyler Nubin from Minnesota.
Oh, I like that for you guys.
Yeah, I loved this pick. He was the first safety taken off the board, which was kind of crazy that late. But it was, and I can honestly argue that this was probably one of the biggest needs on the roster. I do like Jason Pinnock and I love Dane Belton, but we needed someone else after losing McKinney. So I really like this pick. And I know we probably should have, used it on the offensive line or maybe a sooner corner pick, but I like this one. The value of the safety position in the draft wasn't really all that great. I mean, at least I thought, but he's definitely going to be a starter, I believe. He's a really good playmaker, understands where he needs to be to make plays on the ball. As Dable called him, a ball hawk. So I love that. We need a bunch of those in our secondary as we're rebuilding that group there. And he has great ball skills, and he's also an exceptional athlete. So I really like this pick. Now, we had 1 round 3 pick, And with pick 70, we selected cornerback Andrew Phillips from Kentucky. Now, I liked this pick, and I think he's going to do well, especially because even he's still an upgrade over anyone besides Deontay Banks in our secondary. So it was really crucial for us to find someone on the other side for Deontay Banks because Adoree Jackson's still a free agent. I don't think we have any intentions on re-signing him. So that was definitely a position of need. He's feisty and aggressive, and he's an elite athlete, and he's definitely explosive. The one thing that worries me is that he hasn't had any interceptions in his college games, and he'll definitely need to clean that up, and he's also not the best tackler. But like I said, good upgrade
So
over.
is he a good cover corner then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know too much about him. I know that a bunch of other content creators, like Giants content creators, knew a lot about him, but I didn't really know many Kentucky players that well. But he's definitely seems to be a clear upgrade over anyone else, and we definitely needed to address the position. So I'm cool with that pick, but I would rate that pick a B. I thought we could have probably did a little better there, but I'll trust the process.
Trust the process. Are you sure, as a New York native, that you can say that after last night?
Listen, we're not going to talk about last night. That was a colossal choke.
You see, you guys were giving me grief last week. Now you don't want to take the. Okay.
Listen. I'm not like a diehard Knicks fan, so you know me. I'm casual. I hang out. I'm trying to get into it. But
all I can say about that game last night, there was definitely an I-in team.
Yeah.
Ooh. I see no lies. But anyway, getting back to football.
Anyway, so next we had one pick in round 4, and that was pick number 107. And the New York Giants selected tight end Theo Johnson from Penn State.
I love this pick for you guys.
I love this pick too because, especially with Darren Waller's future still up in the air and he hasn't made a decision at all, we definitely needed to add some insurance there. And honestly, in my opinion, I kind of think that he has a lot of the same qualities as Waller. So I kind of like that.
He's a big body. He can block. Needs to work on his pass catching a little bit, but overall.
Absolutely. And he is making great improvements as a run blocker, and we really, really need that, especially with how our offensive line has been so poor. I don't know how it's going to look this year with all the free agent upgrades, but we'll see. But his run blocking ability is super important, so I'm really happy with that pick. And he definitely shows flashes of being a long-term player in that position, so I really like this one. Now, in the 5th round, we had pick 166, running back Tyrone Tracy Jr. from Purdue. I'm going to be honest, I didn't know much about him prior to drafting him, but I mean, at this point, we did need to address the running back room, considering he who shall not be named has went to a team of the other side.
He's not the only Giant that left either.
No, he's not. But they wound up addressing the secondary on day 2, which I think was the right move. So I understand why they didn't address the running back position earlier. He's a little bit older from what I see. But he is a good athlete and he's able to contribute in pass protection, which is good. We need that. He actually is a converted wide receiver to running back, which I thought was interesting.
So I'm gonna let you know right now that comes with its hiccups because Antonio Gibson, fumbleitis.
Yeah, fumbleitis. Yeah, literally. But he's a round 5 pick, so I don't know how much I expect him to really produce. I'm more so interested to see how Dante Miller, our signing before the draft, does in camp.
That was a steal. I went more into his background. Oh my gosh, Mal, that is a steal.
I know. So I am definitely more interested in his development. So this pick I wasn't harping on too much. Although I was looking at the Giants depth chart and the running back room is a little crowded. So I wish we would have went offensive line here. But like I said, I'm not the GM. So whatever he thinks we need, cool. We'll see how it plays out. And now we come to the last pick for the Giants, which was round 6, pick 183. Linebacker Darius I don't know how to say his last name.
I think it's
Mausa.
Mausa.
Mausa from UCLA. He doesn't look that impressive. I don't think he'll be a major contributor on the defense, but he's a day 3 pick. It was late. We needed some solid depth.
Can I just say, I feel like you guys should have gone for either a offensive lineman or a quarterback with this last one.
Yeah, I don't know why we went. I mean, although with linebacker,
I mean, you guys need a linebacker depth. Like, I understand it. I'm just saying, why not take a swing, or get another wide receiver? I don't know. It just felt like it was like the safe pick to make there. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
I also feel like we didn't have enough picks to really address everything that we needed, so we kind of had to pick and choose a little bit. So, like I said, I'm not going to look too much into that pick because it was a super late day 3 pick, and most of the time those guys might be used for depth anyway. So, I won't stress too much about it.
I mean, look, you guys could have had Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Excellent.
I'm sorry, I had to.
No, it's
after
okay.
last week with Rio. I had to bring him up, though. I thought Jordan Travis was in play for you guys.
Yeah, interesting that the Jets kind of went with that there. We'll see how he does there.
The Jets are an interesting draft. I actually like that move for the Jets, but
interesting
the New Jersey Jets.
New Jersey Jets. But that was the Giants, and I kind of liked it. I'll get into my grade later, but Earl, take it away with the Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys had, going into this draft, had 7, and then they decided to make a trade with the Detroit Lions in the first round and pick up a 3rd round pick. And that was crucial for the Cowboys, especially with what they were trying to do. With their first selection at 29, they were at 24. I was in a wave of emotions. I even said if they drafted this player, I was going to punch a hole in the wall.
Which, by the way, was our most popular Instagram reel of all times now. Thank you, Earl, for that.
It was not by choice because I wasn't sure what Dallas was doing in this draft. But I feel like after seeing what this draft was, I feel like Dallas rewrote some wrongs from last year's draft. With their 29th.
I'll say this before Earl goes. Like the clip said, it was a wave of emotions for Earl in his first round.
Wait, if you want to, by the way, check out the full recording, go to our Twitter, listen to that. It's on our spaces. Go to our timeline, scroll down. It's on our spaces from the night of the first round.
Yeah, that was really entertaining. It was fun.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys with the 29th overall pick selected Tyler Guyton. With this pick, I was a little eerie on it where I wasn't so sure if he was ready. But then I had to think about two drafts ago when we drafted Tyler Smith at pick 24, where with a couple of months, getting him in shape, he'd be better prepared. I know that he'll have his growing pains, but with a guy that's 6'8", 328 pounds, there's nothing but upside with this dude, to the point where he only gave up 2 sacks out of 1,082 offensive snaps. I got to give credit where it's due with his upsides. And then on top of that, I remember Guyton back in TCU back in the 2021 and 2020 season where he actually was tight end. He transferred out. Yeah, he was a tight end. He was also a basketball player as well.
Oh.
So this dude is very athletic for a 6'8" guy that's 300 plus pounds. He was only playing tackle in the 2022 and 2023 season, and under 2 seasons, his natural position is left tackle. But in order to protect his quarterback's blind side, in which the quarterback was a left-handed quarterback, he decided to play on the right side to protect his blind side. So I respect that. His natural position is left tackle. It was a need that Dallas needed, especially with Tyron Smith moving on. So I really liked that pick, especially when making a trade to get back into the early parts of the 3rd round, in which going into the next pick, the 2nd round pick at 56, Dallas Cowboys drafted Marshawn Kneeland. I actually had this guy on my draft board, but I really didn't get the chance to talk with y'all about it because I wanted to keep some things hidden and under wraps. And with this pickup, it was definitely a low-key need, especially at DN. because I believe in certain cases, he's going to be the replacement for DeMarcus Lawrence moving forward. This guy is 6'3", 267 pounds, and he definitely fits the scheme of Mike Zimmer and what he wants to do, having his edges set the edge at DN. I really like this guy. He has an incredible motor to the point where you can line him up standing up, probably as a linebacker, but his natural position is defensive end. I really like that. I'm happy going this route because he can learn under DeMarcus Lawrence being able to set the edge. And I believe with some of the rest of the guys on the team, Sam Williams going to get his shot at edge, and I think he'll be the X factor this season. For Micah, he's going to play some DN, but I believe he's going to play some off-ball linebacker. I expect him to play more of a will linebacker. So I like this pick. And with the third pick in the third round, I think it was like ninth off the board. With the 73rd pick, my favorite pick, Dallas Cowboys select Cooper Beebe from Kansas State. This guy is 6'3", 335 pounds. After I saw them get this pick, I knew exactly where they were doing. They were revamping the old line and they were upgrading to what they had. This guy, he's that guy that'll put your face in the dirt, move you off the field, get him out the stadium type of guy. And the cool thing about BB is that he's played all five of the offensive line positions. And I believe BB's going to be our main center. And I believe he's going to carry that for 10 plus years. I really love this pick, and it was a key pick. I give this an A plus pick because for him, I had a second round grade on Cooper Beebe, and I was like, man, this guy's dropping. This is crazy. And then when Dallas picked him up, I knew exactly what they were doing because I felt like we could have gotten Jackson's Power Johnson or Graham Barton, but adding him and Tyler Guyton, that was key. Adding that extra pick for Beebe, I commend the Joneses for that because that was definitely one that was highly needed and required. And then with our third round pick at 87, we took Maurice Leofau, linebacker from Notre Dame. This is the type of linebacker I wanted Dallas to have seasons ago. This guy has a high IQ. I know in Notre Dame, they had this guy playing everywhere. He was playing in the slot. He was playing as safety. He was playing linebacker. They had him being a pass rusher. One thing that really intrigued Zimmer, being able to work with him at the 30 visit, is that he was able to call out everything and what he was seeing. His high Q, he's very knowledgeable in what he's doing, especially with him being a Mike linebacker. So he's going to have that green dot. And I think he's going to be the replacement for Eric Kendricks after this season. I really love this dude upsize. I keep hearing comparisons of Sean Lee. I keep hearing comparisons of Fred Warner. And this guy has incredible upside. I really like this dude. And I'm putting it out there. The dude plays like his hair's on fire like Palomalu. And then on top of that, I believe he hits harder than Fred Warner. My next pick in the 5th round, I feel like this one was definitely an underrated pick. We drafted Kalen Carson, cornerback from Wake Forest. He's 6 foot, 199 pounds. He was one of those other top corners in this draft where I felt like the draft with corners and safeties was heavy. So whoever got somebody got something of a worthy asset. And this dude got attitude. And what I looked at from the last 4 picks, Dallas was getting bigger, physical, and had attitude. And then just added another guy at the cornerback position. I know Diggs is coming off an ACL tear, but moving him in the slot, possibly being a replacement for Jordan Lewis, I love this pick. This guy, he can tackle, he can cover. One game that I saw that he played against Florida State, he was covering Keon Coleman, pretty much shut him down. And then just seeing what he can do. Also, he's down to play special teams just to work his way up. I really like that about a player, where instead of demanding just corner, but being able to earn your keep in this league. So I'm really excited about that pick. The next pick was a receiver. I didn't do too much knowledge on this guy, but with the 6th round pick, 216th pick, we had Ryan Flournoy. Basically, he's a 6'1", 205. I basically had to watch his combine. He ran a 4.44 flat, and he has big target capability. He can separate, but I know in sometimes when he gets engaged with somebody, it's kind of he's kind of lacking with just kind of some separation. But that's something I believe that Dallas receiving coaches can work with him on, because this guy, he has top notch big playability, especially with his size as well as his speed. So I really like to see him make this team, or if it's just on special teams. The, I'm into the later rounds. In the 7th round, with the 233rd pick, the Dallas Cowboys selected Nathan Thomas, offensive tackle from Louisiana Lafayette. This guy, 6'5", 332 pounds. Dude got massive hands. He locks down an incredible wingspan of 80, in which he just mauls people. Like, he's one of those interchangeable guys like Lucas Brandon Coleman, where he's played guard, but his initial position is tackle. I actually believe if this guy can make the team, because I'm ready for Josh Ball and Matt Waletzko to get the stepping, pack your bags. And just seeing the emphasis on what they were doing in this draft, they were able to secure 3 linemen, one interior, another one could be interior, where I think Nathan Thomas could be the successor to Zach Martin when he leaves. So I really like this pick. Now, some of the tape he's done isn't as good, but there's some things that they can work with him on and get him up to speed. He'll have growing pains as well, but it will help him moving forward. So all these linemen that Dallas have, they've some way, shape, or form work with the offensive guru Duke Manyweather. This guy is very talented in what he does. If y'all get a chance, check out his stuff on YouTube. Check him out on all the social platforms. This guy knows his stuff, especially with the offensive linemen and the interior linemen as a whole. The guy's great. And then the last pick, this is one that I predicted in my mock draft with 7th round pick, 244th. Dallas Cowboys select Justin Rogers. He's basically 6'3", 330 pounds. He's a one tech. Dallas is really lacking in the department of defensive tackle, and having him learn under, honestly, he doesn't have anybody to learn under. He's going to have to earn his keep and work his way on the line, but he's basically the guy to plug in the middle. And that was something that I feel like Dallas definitely needed to address in the draft, but I would have been cool if they would have picked somebody up after the draft when teams start to do their cuts for the 90-man roster leading up to training camp and the preseason. Overall, this draft had really surprised me, but at the same time, when I knew what they were doing, I was excited for the future to come, because I know that they're revamping that line, but they're going under a more aggressive physicality role with their line. I've been waiting for that. I know some Cowboy fans are wondering why we didn't get a running back. That's because Ezekiel Elliott is back on a 1-year deal. And having him run under that line, that potential line, that could be exciting, because I'm not going to say Ezekiel Elliott is washed. I was wrong when I said that he needed to hang up his cleats. He just needs a complemented back to go along with what he has. He still has juice, and he's a really good pass catching running back. And I think having him back is really going to help Dak Prescott, especially with pass protection, but also being able to do those jet sweeps, catching the ball out the backfield and running behind this new revamped O line. It's going to be great to see, because I actually can see Terrence Steele being himself a little bit more coming off an ACL injury, as well as Zach Martin being there for a full training camp. I feel like last season, just getting him up to speed with what they were doing, especially under a new offensive line coach, Mike Solari, he really didn't get everything fundamentally sound. So I believe this time around, he'll be able to run it back. And then with these new additions to the offensive line working their way to earn that star, I'm looking forward to it. I really like this draft.
So Earl, one quick question and a quick answer, then we gotta get to Maurice. Did you feel like this was a draft? This draft was made for moves now or moves in the future?
Most of the picks were for now. The others felt like more future picks after certain contracts were up.
Okay, all right. Maurice, it is your time to shine. I know you're excited because the Eagles probably, there's no probably, they made the most draft moves.
Yes,
so let's talk about it.
Howie Roseman made the most draft trades in the history of the draft. All right, so that's that. Nobody, no GM has made more trades in one draft. I mean, it seemed like the Eagles traded back like every other pick. But
yeah, it was getting annoying for somebody that was making all the graphics because I had to change it every single.
yeah.
Sorry, no. As a Commander fan, I'm venting my frustration about the Eagles.
I get it. And we did have a trade involving us. I'll get to it in a second. So with our first pick, the 22nd pick, we drafted Quinyon Mitchell. I mean, we got in my opinion, we got the best cornerback in the draft, and he just so happens to fall to us. There was a run on quarterbacks earlier in the draft, so Mitchell fell to us at 22. Didn't have to move up to get him. When I did our mock for the Eagles draft, I had Cooper DeJean going in the first round. I didn't think Mitchell would be there or Arnold, to be honest, at 22. But somehow, some way, he was there. And Quinyon Mitchell, he has the opportunity to start immediately. Now we need to see what happens in training camp, but him and Slay are projected to be the starters as of right now. Like I said, still got to prove it on the field, but this is it for James Bradbury. Hopefully, he gets released sometime during the summer.
Hold up. Didn't we just say, like, last pod that he's not going to get released? It's too much money to release him? Just have him
He is. I'm hearing. Well, we still have, like, I don't even know how it's possible, but we still have, like, 20 something million. Like, I want to say 21 million under the salary cap. And it's about an $8 million hit if we release Bradbury, or we can just let him sit on the bench for a season.
I mean,
so
there's nothing wrong with having a veteran, but okay, anyway.
He's just not good, Lucas. You know this.
Okay.
Yeah, so Mitchell has the opportunity to be the day one starter alongside Darius Slay. He has all of the skill sets. He can play cover, he can play man. This guy is potentially a really good young corner. Now, he was drafted out of Toledo. I get it. Toledo isn't SEC. But from the tape that we've all seen of him at Toledo and at the Senior Bowl, he was number one for a reason. I'll just keep it like that. He was ranked number one for a reason, and we got the number one corner. So we'll move on to our second round pick. Now we had the 50 and 53rd pick, and Howie Roseman decided to move up and trade with the Commanders to get the 40th pick. And with the 40th pick, we drafted Cooper DeJean.
I'm not gonna lie, I really kind of wanted us to keep that pick before the trade details were announced, because I was like, look, should we probably take a center at 40? I mean, an offensive lineman at 40, maybe. But Cooper DeJean, as our friend Rio Robinson says, the Great White Hope himself. In DC, that would have been nice, but you guys got two, I believe, day one starters at corner.
He probably won't start. Like I said,
Unless they convert him to safety.
Yes, he has that versatility to play at pretty much any position in the secondary. Now, I mocked him. I mocked him with our first round pick. We got him with our second round pick. So we're off to a really good start with this draft. I mean, if you can get, some people say the best two corners in the draft, and that's our first two picks. I mean, this goes back to 2002 when we drafted Lito Shepard and Sheldon Brown in the same draft to kind of correct the issues we had at secondary in our cornerback position because they were old. This is looking like that. And Cooper, I mean, I've already talked about him. He's an athletic freak. He has the potential to also be a returner. Um, he's just so athletic. And I don't think we need him to start, but he could. I project him to be a starter with CJ Gardner Johnson as safety. Now we got Reed Blankenship, Sheldon Brown. We'll see. Cindy Brown, excuse me. We'll see how he comes back from his injury at training camp. But right now, I'm loving what our secondary looks like going forward. If we roll out a corner of Slay, Mitchell, DeJean, and CJ Gardner Johnson, and we have either Maddox or Isaiah Rogers in the slot, I'm liking it. I'm really liking our secondary right now. All right, so let's move on to the third round pick.
Where you guys traded back like 4 times.
Yeah, we did. I've lost count.
It's probably more like 3, but still.
Don't ask me to make to announce those transactions right now. All I know is we had the 94th pick, and we drafted, and this is the one where I kind of scratched my head. We drafted Jalix Hunt, outside linebacker, edge, hybrid from
Houston Christian University.
Houston Christian. It used to be called Houston Baptist. They just changed the name of it. I found that out doing a little research on Google.
Interesting.
This guy is a project. Now he has the skill set. He has the tools. He has the measurables. 6'3", long arms, fast. He didn't get. I watched his tape. He didn't wow me. So this one was a head scratcher for me because I mentioned it before. I don't really want a project going into a season where we're a legitimate contender. I want guys who can help us now, and I thought this was a pick for 2 years from now. I thought this was a pick for 2 years from now, and we're gonna see. I don't think he's gonna make an impact this season at all. I think there's some guys that's in front of him depth wise. Hopefully he can make a flash in the pan. I'm not saying like he's a bust or anything. We just have to see this.
I think it's a Fangio pick because he had guys like that back when he was the coordinator in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be something to tool in with Nolan Smith and then do some things with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. So I would just be patient with them, see what he does in the preseason. Y'all might got a hidden gem right there because the guy, he can ball. Is just some more upsides that he can achieve, but I wouldn't give up on that pick.
I'm not giving up on either. I would have just rather a impact now type of guy with a third round pick. Eagles fans would know Davion Taylor. He was a project pick in the third round a couple years ago, a linebacker who just didn't pan out. He never really got any opportunity to play, and that's what it gives me those vibes. But I'm not hating on the pick, and I wish him nothing but success. I just would have seen. I just wish we would have got a player that could do something right now. But with that said, has all the tools. So like Earl said, let's see what Vic Van Fangio can do with him. All right, so with the 27th pick, the Eagles draft Will Shipley, running back from Clemson. I've seen him play some games. Not a break one for 75 yards type of running back, but he's a secure. I wouldn't even say secure. He's had some fumbles as well. I would have. The pick was okay. We needed a backup running back.
You don't sound too confident in it, man.
I know, and I'll get to that more so in our grade part. But we needed another running back behind Barkley and Gainwell. Boston Scott just signed with another team. I forget offhand what team he signed for, but wish him the best.
The Rams.
It was the Rams? Okay. Thank you, Mal. Yeah, I wish him the best. I wish Boston Scott the best. He was a Giant killer, so I know Giants fans are happy to see him go west. But anyway, Will Shipley, I like the pick for depth. I need to see what he does in training camp and preseason. I want to see, and if I could say anything about him right now, I want to see a burst. I want to see how he can move and carry the ball with our offensive line and not a Clemson offensive line. So I'm gonna hold off on that one. My opinions on that one, but I like the pick though. I like the pick because he's a running back that we need. No, not. I don't want another. No disrespect to him. I don't want another Boston Scott, like a 5'6" guy who can run between the tackles. I want a guy 6'1", durable, can pound the rock up the middle if he need be. Now, one thing about him I don't like is he's not really a pass catcher, and that is something that we definitely need from our running backs going forward. This new season is running backs who can catch the ball out of the backfield. We had a guy last year, Swift, who was good at it, but they just didn't do it. So hopefully with Kellen Moore, they utilize that part of the offense a little bit more.
How good is this pass blocking?
Average. This is, I'm interested to see how he looks in training camp, and I think a lot of these picks, once you get past the third, fourth round, you got to see how these guys, play against pros and pads. So I'll reserve my opinion. With the 152nd pick, the Eagles select Anaya Smith, receiver from Texas A&M. Now I like this pick. In my mock, I had Eagles taking with their 7th round pick, Taj Washington. Same player. I think he's actually an upgrade. I really like this pick because he's a guy who can maybe play the slot. Once again, another guy they drafted that could be a returner. I like him in this offense. They need a burst of speed and quickness and agility. Devontae and AJ really don't give you that. So this guy is if I can equate it to another sport, he's like a change of pace type receiver. And I think he can make an immediate impact. Going with the 152nd pick, I truly believe Anaya Smith can make an impact immediately on this Eagles team. With the 155th pick, this was a pick we talked about on this pod many times, and I think it turned out perfectly for Jeremiah Trotter.
You guys traded up for this pick, if I remember.
Yes, we did. We traded up for this pick. For where they drafted Jeremiah Trotter Jr., linebacker from Clemson, for where they traded him at, where did they trade? They traded up to draft him. It's great value. And now we were talking about him in his late second, early third. Now he did drop as the weeks went on in a lot of mocks, But to get him in the 4th round, I mean, I think this is a steal of a pick. Now, he's not his father. He's smaller. He's not as fast. I think he ran a 4.5. But he has the intangibles. He has the the skill set. I do believe to maybe not be a starter at least the first season, but I think he has the ability to be a starter one day, maybe next season. And Lucas said the same thing about Luke McCaffrey. No, you have that pedigree. You're at least one step ahead of all the other rookies. You've seen your dad go through this. You know the ins and outs. So I'm not I, for 155. This was a great pick. This is another steal. This is up there with Mitchell as just getting the best player available for the pick. Great value. I really love it. With the 172nd pick, the Eagles draft offensive guard Trevor Keegan from Michigan. Now, I wanted the Eagles to draft an offensive guard or right guard, or at least a guard in general, earlier in the draft. Kind of like what Lucas was talking about. And no, it didn't fall our way. I would have really liked Zach Frazier if we didn't trade those 2 picks for DeJean. But Trevor Keegan, he looks like one of those road graders, man. He looks like one of them dudes that you don't want to mess with in the trenches from Michigan. I like the pick again. I think Howie did a great job in the back end of this draft getting guys who can do something. Maybe not a starter, but do something season 1 on this team. I like Keegan with the 85th pick. I like Johnny Wilson. I think Earl mentioned him.
I think you guys are gonna convert him to tight end.
Yeah, he's a guy who's 6'6", 6'7", tall, big body. He can go up over everyone.
I think you guys are going to convert him to a Travis Kelce type of tight end where you line him outside or inside.
Hey, he's another weapon, and a big weapon. Mm-hmm. And no, he's not. He's not like a big, slow, big body type receiver. This guy has some. Yeah, he can move.
Question is can he keep his hands true? Because I know he's had a question or two about that, but
yeah, they're gonna have to work with him on that, especially in contestant catches, because he can run very well. It's just his confidence factor. You got to get his confidence going. If he doesn't have his confidence, he'll have some mishaps. But he's a big target. Definitely get the ball to him. It's almost like a basketball situation at the goal line, jump ball. He's got it. So he's gonna have to work his way on the team, especially with the receivers y'all have. And yeah, he's a dynamic player. He's got upside.
So Maurice, who's the last player that you guys drafted?
And with the 190th pick, we drafted offensive guard Dylan McMahon from North Carolina State. This is a depth piece. Hopefully he can make the team. If he doesn't, maybe we go to practice squad. But another guard to add to the depth of our offensive line. I don't have a problem with it at all. If there's any position that you can get good quality from and an opportunity to actually be a starter one day in the NFL late in the draft, it's lineman, or at least an offensive lineman. So hopefully Jeff Stoutland can do some work with him. At least he can make the team. Hopefully one day he can make an impact. So with that is the Eagles 2024 NFL draft results.
Yeah, and now we're going to go to grades with Earl, right, Earl?
I'll start first. The grade I give Dallas Cowboys with this draft overall, I feel like while teams was zigging, this team was zagging. They're really building the trenches and something that I really wanted them to do. With the selections that they have, as well as getting an edge guy, as well as a corner, which were low key moves that was needed, as well as a one tech, I'm gonna give them overall with the trade with Detroit to get Cooper Beebe. I'm gonna give them a B plus. What do you guys think?
I don't know. There was no names that really wowed me. I mean, you guys got where you needed to. The trade was good. I'd be tempted to say either B minus or B. I'm kind of leaning towards B minus. I don't know. It's just you guys said all in. It just it was a good draft. It just didn't feel like an all in type of draft for me personally. But I'm a little biased, so Mal Maurice.
So let's see here. Earl, wait a second. You cut out on my end. Did you give just the Cowboys a rating?
Yeah, they did. He gave him a B plus.
Okay. I actually gave the Cowboys an A minus.
Really?
Yeah, I thought they did a good job of revamping their line, and I think that's really important because outside of that, I don't think Dallas really has too many problems. That was the biggest concern I was worried about them for this year. So I thought the way that they rebuilt that line pretty well. I gave them an A minus.
I respect it. It was something dealing with building in the trenches. And I feel them doing it now will open up a lot going into next season because I found out Dallas actually have 10 draft picks. 3 were comps thanks to Washington for losing Tyler Biotish and Dorrance Armstrong. Thank you, Lucas.
It
And
is
then
what
the
it
other was
is.
for Tyron Smith and Tony Pollard. So it's definitely with how things are going with this team after next season, they'll be the second youngest team in the NFL.
I gave you guys a B. This is straight B. I can't ignore the fact that Earl said he will punch a hole in the wall if they drafted Tyler Gottlieb. I can't ignore that.
Yeah, that's
I have
true.
to add it in my equation. Um, I think you'll come around to him eventually, Earl. But I gave you guys a B. You did address some issues with the trenches. You got a tackle and you got a guard that I truly believe both of them can make an immediate impact. So
And they did upgrade the linebacker and edge positions, which they needed to.
yeah, so you guys got some a nice little influx of talent, I believe, day one. So I give that a B, almost a B plus.
I'll change it from B minus to B plus. I'll be nice.
No, just
That's
be you could be honest. I just went with the B plus because I feel that with the upside that they did, as well as getting the value of Cooper Beebe, which I thought was a second rounder, that one was a steal. And then on top of that, getting Kalen Carson in the 5th round, where this guy was a potential 3rd rounder to a 4th. He doesn't have any injuries. He was just overlooked. I got a chance to look at these guys film, like go game by game, especially their highs and their lows. And these guys are for real. And I believe with them transitioning to the NFL, they're gonna have an incredible opportunity to be the next coming in their respective positions. And when I can look back at this draft, maybe a season or two, I could at least say that they at least overall had somewhere of an A because I feel like each guy is going to contribute to the team. If not this season, going into next season.
fair enough. So I'm up next. It's very hard for me to grade this because I obviously you try to go best player available, but sometimes you have needs that you can't ignore. And clearly, Chef Peters was like, I'm doing best player. No questions about it. If I go by the list of best player available, then I would give the Commanders an A, possibly an A plus. If we're going by need, I'm kind of leaning more towards like a B because we could have used another offensive lineman or another Another offensive lineman. We didn't go there. We went edge with the last pick. It's not like we don't need an edge. We do. We needed to upgrade the defense. It was one of the worst in the whole entire NFL last year. So I guess, I said on Twitter like a strong B plus. I'll go with an A minus. I feel like we got a pretty good draft. Like I said, I would have liked one more offensive line. There's some questions, regarding a guy like Brandon Coleman, but overall, I'm going to give us, an A minus. What do you guys think?
I would say A minus. I would have liked to have seen, and we talked about this. I would have liked to have seen a offensive lineman or two with the second or third round picks.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, fair, but it's not like we went and got bad players. We got some of the top at there, like Newton. He should not have gotten to the second round.
Yeah, I understand that. You got the best player available, but where you're changing, where your franchise is going in a different direction, and you make that franchise draft pick at quarterback, I would immediately build the offensive line for him to protect him.
we did add 2 offensive linemen in free agency.
Yes, you did.
We have
you did.
Cosme still. I think if we, switch Wiley from from tackle to guard and have Allegretti go to tackle, I think it's worth a shot.
Now, another thing.
And even if Coleman doesn't work out as a tackle, he's still going to be a really good guard.
Yeah, and another thing, I would have liked to have seen a skilled player, a receiver.
We got 2. No, we got 1. We got McCaffrey. And we essentially got the second best tight end. We drafted the second highest tight end in the draft in Sinet. So we got 2 pass catchers.
You foresee Luke McCaffrey having an immediate impact and starting?
I think he's gonna be the starting slot receiver. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, look, our other options are Dommy Brown, Jamison Crowder. I don't even know who else after that. Jamison Crowder's well past his prime. Love him, but well past his prime. And if they have it, I don't think they have, but they probably should cut Diami if we're being real. He's not a slot guy. He's a deep guy that can't catch the ball half the time deep. So, and he was Sam Howell's guy. Sam Howell's not there anymore. So that's that. Yeah. Look, you got 2 pass catchers. One was a tight end. One was a wide receiver. We don't need any more running backs. I feel good about the running back room. So yeah, I'm and like I said, it would have been nice to have another offensive lineman, but you got one. You're hoping on upside. I trust Adam Peters as an evaluator. So that's where I'm going. Mal and Maurice, Mal and Earl, do you have any other input?
Yeah, no, I gave you guys an A minus as well. The only thing that I would have changed about your draft, like I said, was that early lineman. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty good draft and going in a good direction.
Yeah. No, I know. Like I said, it would have been nice to get an earlier lineman, but the players that they got early were really good players.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Earl?
All right, I'm going to be as honest as I can with this.
I'm ready. I'm holding the couch.
I'm leaning towards, for you guys, A minus into a B plus. The only reason why I'm doing that is from what I'm looking at, from what I'm seeing from this draft list from you guys. Y'all got your quarterback. You got an interior lineman who can get the quarterback upfield, Jerzon Newton. The corner, Mike, call him Shayukin. Basically, he's going to be your slot guy. So depending on what Emmanuel Forbes does, he's going to be an outside corner, and then your other guy is going to be either QB2.
Well, Mikey, there's a chance. They said that Mikey can play outside. He's just a little undersized for it, but it's not like he can't play outside.
Right. No, yeah. I'm just saying the plug-in play with
this. Oh, yeah. It would be nickel, yeah.
Right, because I'm looking at what these picks are, and I can see a mix of Peters in it as well as
Oh, Dan Quinn definitely
Dan
influenced
Quinn.
this.
Yeah,
Dan Quinn
I'm looking
definitely
at it.
had
I'm
his
seeing
hand
it.
on his draft.
So I'm just kind of seeing some things on what he's doing here compared to what he did his first time in Dallas. Because I remember the first 6 picks were defense. And then this one, it has a little mix of offense every now and then, getting the pieces you need. But looking at linebacker, safety, and DN, these are guys that are going to be part of Dan Quinn's regime to the point is very. I'm just
Dan Quinn
teetering
is
between
definitely
them.
building his defense. I
Right.
suspect that we will be at least a top 15 defense next year, possibly top 10.
And you might see that defense take a
Big jump.
a nice jump compared to the past from what you've seen from Washington. So that's kind of the reason why I'm giving it a B plus, where it's up to a high ceiling of an A minus to an A.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Who's up next?
That would be me.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
You couldn't wait to interject, can you, Lucas?
I can't. I'm sorry. Look, it's late. Yeah, it's late. I want to get going. Sorry, go ahead, buddy.
All right. With the Eagles grade, listen, we got the best corner in the draft. We got my mock corner in the first round, in the second round. 2 great talents I think will make an immediate impact. What lowers the grade for me is Hunt and Shipley. I think Shipley was a reach, and I think Hunt is a project. And like I mentioned, for a team that's trying to contend for a Super Bowl, I don't want a project, and I really don't even want to reach. But Aeneas Smith, Trotter, Keegan, Wilson, I think all of them can do something season 1. I truly do believe that. So with that said, and also take into account also with all the trades how we made on the 3-day draft, they accrued a 3rd round pick, a 4th round pick, and a 5th round pick from those trades as well. So I equate that into the grade as well. I gave them an A minus. It wasn't a perfect draft. I think they could have taken some players in the 3rd with Hunt and Shipley. I think they could have went a different route. Not counting those guys out in training camp. We'll see. I do agree with what Earl said. I think Hunt is a Fangio pick. Let's see what he does under his tutelage. Shipley could have went a different route, but we'll see. But I gave him an A minus. What do you guys think?
I think just because of all the trades, you guys get an A minus because you guys definitely not only stacked up for this year but for next year as well. A good job. The picks were solid. I understand why you said that. I think an A minus is appropriate.
Yeah, I gave you guys an A minus also because I think that your first 2 rounds were the strongest of the draft, and I think it fell off a little bit after that point. But overall, A minus, especially loading up all those draft picks for next year.
I give you guys an A minus as well. We're looking at your draft picks. The first 2 were definitely key needs that you needed to address, and those are going to be your new corners moving forward after Slay and Bradbury. The Hunt pick, that's definitely a Fangio pick. Will Shipley, he's going to be learning under Saquon. Get ready for the passing offense, sir. And with Aeneas Smith, I've been hearing things where he's like a mini Debo.
Okay.
Jeremiah Trotter
I've heard that
Jr.
too. Yeah.
He's probably gonna be your green dot linebacker because it's very gloomy on how Nakobe Dean is looking right now.
True.
And this is gonna be something of rewriting a wrong, where Darius Leonard, he's basically your best linebacker right now with David. So changing Trotter in that mix is going to be very interesting, but one that you could definitely look forward to because Trotter Jr. can ball out. And then you address the offensive line with Trevor Keegan from Michigan. They were in a pro style offense. So you got a guy that's technically learned under a pro system, that could really be a key component to your offense. Johnny Wilson, big body target. Just get his confidence up. Then the last pick with Dylan McMahon, he's also a key piece where I believe North Carolina State Wolfpack had somewhat of a pro style offense. So you got guys that have played in a certain type of pro style offense. So you just got to see how it goes through training camp and so on. But I give you guys an A minus.
All right. I think we all in agreement on A minus. Mal, you're up.
Yeah, so for the Giants, they ignored the historic quarterback run early, and we grabbed Neighbors, which he's an explosive receiver. So I'm really excited for him. Newman and Phillips were good value in our secondary where we desperately needed help. Johnson, I think, will be a great fourth round pick if he can fully translate his athleticism to the actual NFL field. And Tracy and Masao, I still can't pronounce his last name, but I will figure it out. Will be good to see how they develop. Overall, I give the Giants a B plus for what they did. I think we addressed a lot of needs, and I think that most of our picks were pretty smart. Any
I
thoughts?
I agree with that as well. You guys did what you can with 6 picks,
Yeah.
and I know it was a sigh of relief when you found out they did not take McCarthy.
Oh, you have no idea.
Well, Becca did literally like she had a sigh like a minute of relief.
Yeah, you
I,
have no
I
idea.
think Becca had like a prayer circle going on. You know,
Go
not-
JJ
Like
McCarthy.
they were summoning something because because if y'all did, I feel like you would hear the screams all over the world of Giants fans of just like no.
Literally.
Yeah, but
I was deeply over it. Did not want that to happen. But yeah, go ahead, Lucas.
no, I just remind me real quick. What was your grade again?
B plus.
B plus. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a B plus too. Yeah, you guys had limited picks. You did well with the limited picks. Like I said, I think that last pick should have gone to a. It could have gone like Jordan Travis, or I'm assuming he was still available at that pick, right? So maybe
Yeah.
Jordan Travis, maybe a another running back or another wide receiver, offensive lineman. Like, you had options. So I don't know, but like, B plus solid. You got who knows if Malik Neighbors might be the best wide receiver in the draft, or it might be Marvin Harrison Jr. It's a toss up. Who knows? So I think that was solid. But let's
Oh, I
move
gotta give
on.
my grade.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Earl. Sorry.
All right, I'm gonna give you guys a B plus. Mal, I feel like the Malik Neighbors is a pick that was key as well as a rewrite of wrong, especially with OBJ. And then you were able to get a safety to replace McKinney. He's got to work his way up. Overall, I like what y'all guys did with the 6 picks. I don't think y'all did any trades, but y'all took care of what you needed with the picks you have. So B plus it is.
Awesome. We all agree. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Lucas.
All right.
Segue us.
Yeah, we're gonna get into our social media stuff. Real quick, guys, we need to hammer through this fast. We're at a minute and 15 already. It's late. Let's get through this. Let's not dwell too much on this. Okay, guys. So I think now it's time for Maurice to go ahead. Maurice, go ahead, take it away, bud.
All right, so the mailbag this week comes to us from the Dallas Cowboys. And we didn't get a question.
Technically, we did.
We did? By who?
Mr. Joe Lauto, who was in our fantasy football league.
Okay.
He actually directly messaged me, and there was one question. Trust me, I was leaning. Nobody didn't respond, and I was about to say, "Mission failed. We'll get him next time."
Oh no!
But yeah, it would have been a
no.
But
What's up, Joe?
Yeah, salute to Joe Lauto.
Mr. Lauto.
Mr. Lauto. He asked this question, and it was like directly to me. He said that with this draft, do you think this Cowboys team has positioned the roster for a Super Bowl run this year?
That's a good question.
Yep. I haven't said anything under a Super Bowl in a very long time. Only time will tell, especially with the upsides that they were able to get in the linemen in this draft. And if everything falls into place and what they're trying to do, and somehow miraculously they slay the demon that has been cursing them for the past 30 years, and it gets them to a Super Bowl, I'm cool with it. But for right now, I don't have an exact vision to see it go there. It's just running your race and continuing to take one game at a time.
All right, fair enough. And Earl, it's your favorite time.
Ice cream?
Earl, it's who's that player?
Hey. Alrighty, we have who's that football player? Dini. This football player back in 1999 in the season, he had over 1,000 yards rushing, 4 rushing touchdowns. He had 6 fumbles, 284 yards receiving, as well as 2 receiving touchdowns. Do you guys know who this football player is?
I mean, I know our friend Uriah did not get it correct.
No, he did not. I think he was about 5 years too late on that one.
Who did he say, Maurice? Maurice, he said Ricky Waters.
Mal, do you know?
I do not.
Just think running back 2000.
Running back 2000.
Eagles.
Well, technically, we used the stats from 1999, but fair enough.
Yeah.
I do not know this. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this was an easy one for me. This was an easy one. I think he had his best game against the Cowboys week 1, the pickle juice game, as we call it.
Yep, the pickle juice game. I remember that.
It was Deuce Staley. Deuce.
Deuce.
I mean, New York City saying Deuce McBride right now, so I was tempted to give you that hint.
Don't remind me. But anyway, Deuce Staley had a really good Eagles career. I think he's with the Panthers now.
As a running back coach?
I think he's like the offensive assistant coach, something like that. Don't quote me.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, Deuce had a really good career with the Eagles. Came out of nowhere and was really a reliable back for us during the McNabb, Andy Reid, championship contending years that we had in the early 2000s. Deuce is the man. Salute to him.
Yeah, salute the Deuce. He was by far, I feel like, you guys' best running back and kind of around that when y'all got Shady. But yeah, like Deuce, he was definitely
Shady came in a lot later than Staley.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it was like during that time, like Deuce Staley was pretty much one of the Eagles' best running backs. Even with they had Brian Westbrook.
Yeah,
it was just I feel like his durability and stuff, like he was key to the Eagles' offense during the time he was there. So respect to him.
Yeah, it went from Deuce to Brian Westbrook to pretty much McCoy. So we had a nice little run there running backs.
Yeah. But that's who's that football player for this week?
Fair enough. Yeah, Eagles fans, we need to hear more from you guys. That being said, Mal, we had an Eagles poll question too, didn't we?
Yeah, so the poll question for this week was, what grade do you give the Philadelphia Eagles in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft? And all of our social media platforms agreed on giving them an A, which I think that was pretty much, I would agree there. I mean, I said it before, I graded their draft so highly based on their first 3 rounds, so I don't think that was anything to really debate there.
Fair enough. And I think you guys did good. There didn't seem like there was too much debate. Facebook was essentially the same, right?
Yes.
And I didn't even check to see if they had votes or not. YouTube doesn't usually get that many participants on polls.
Yeah, but Twitter and Facebook, they were on the same page.
All right, that's good. So Mal, before we came on the pod, You had a little bit hard time figuring out our trivia question of the week.
I know it though. I do know it.
You do know it, but it took you a minute. It took you a minute. And I pride myself on coming up with these good ones. And I've had this one since the last time we had a Giants trivia question, which was last month. Been sitting on this one. So, question was, which former New York Giants head coach is the grandfather to current Los Angeles Rams head coach Sean McVay? And Mal, tell the people who it is.
It is John McVay.
Yes,
That's correct.
head coach in the 1970s. I don't know if he had I don't know too much about him. I'm assuming that he was solid. It sounds like he was solid and beloved.
Yeah, he was
the general manager with the Niners during their 5 Super Bowl championships.
Yes, he was. And he passed away unfortunately in 2022. So
Oh, I thought I saw that he was still. Oh, oops.
No, yeah, he passed away, but rest in peace to a legend. We love John McVay.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. I thought that was a good question. I don't think anybody answered it though. So Giants fans, what you doing?
Yeah, come on, y'all.
That was a good one. That was a good one by me. Okay,
He also
and then
has the same last name as Sean McVay, so like.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier. We did have Meme Monday. It was a Commanders meme. I liked it. I thought it was accurate. It was SpongeBob freaking out when it was supposed to be how Commanders felt when Jaden McDaniels got drafted, which is accurate. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that.
Earl, have you ever thought about being a voice actor?
I mean, I was an animation major.
And a theater major. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Do the animation and do the voiceover.
Yeah.
But look, I feel like our teams dodged a bullet. None of our teams drafted Spencer Rattler.
Much to the chagrin of Jeb.
Yep.
Sorry, Jeb.
Sorry, Jeb. But he's in a good situation with New Orleans, though.
Yeah, he gets to learn behind Derek Carr for another year or two. Yeah, no, I think it's a solid place. He'll either get a chance or he won't. We'll see. He was a fifth. Can we just before we head out? General draft thoughts. Everybody gets one. You get 1 minute to explain it. Mal, what was your takeaway from the draft in general? Doesn't have to be the Giants. It could be any team, any move. What's your takeaway?
Yeah. So my takeaway is, I think that the AFC East is going to be interesting this year.
Yeah, fair.
I really do. I think that all those teams kind of made some good moves, so I'm interested to see how that goes for that division.
Did the Bills actually make a good move?
I mean, they got Keon Coleman.
But who did they trade back with?
The Chiefs.
Yeah, and who they get? The fastest guy in the dang draft.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, if Bean didn't really have him that high on his board and saw it fit, then I mean, by all means.
Look, I like what the Jets did. I'm kind of neutral about the Pats and the Dolphins. Not
the Patriots got Drake May, so
I mean, really he's not starting this year. He's not going to start this year.
I don't know.
If they do, it'd be highly irresponsible of them. But we'll see. They did draft another quarterback later, didn't they? Did they? That's somebody. I don't know. Anyway, Maurice, what's your one takeaway from the draft, or one thing that really shocked you?
Well, everyone was shocked when the Atlanta Falcons reached and took Penix. What was it? Not the sixth, the eighth pick. Yeah, that was a shocker. That was the shocker of the draft. I think Mal had the Giants taking him in the second round.
Yeah, that was wild.
No way he was getting that far.
Look, Falcons was looking for the future with that. They really was like, I can't believe we gave Cousins that money.
That was the first time I think I've heard this. That was the first time a team signed a quarterback to that large of a contract and still drafted a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
That was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
We'll see if it works out for Atlanta. What about you, Earl?
I have a quick two. One, I was very impressed in what Dallas did, especially addressing their interior line. But I'm going to shift this to the Los Angeles Rams draft picks. My Lord. They got Jared Verse from Florida State. They got Braden Fisk from Florida State. These are two guys on the defense that were in an NFL ready scheme. On top of that, they get Blake Corum right after that. They get Cameron Kitchens from Miami, and then another guy I wanted, Brennan Jackson. This Rams team is looking very threatening with these draft picks. So I would look for the Rams this upcoming season as a very dark horse team that could possibly be in the top 3 in the division.
Fair enough. For me, I'm just sad that Zach Frazier got drafted by my least favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Poetic justice, huh?
Well, how is that poetic? That is like the opposite of poetic.
I'm saying for Steeler fans.
Oh, I mean, it's good for them because he's a West Virginia kid, so it's just not like it's a big move for him. Yeah, besides that, definitely you have Penix going there. There was
Bo Nix as well.
No, I saw that one coming. I saw that one coming.
Really?
Yeah, I
did?
saw. We talked about this on the thing. Yeah, I saw this coming.
The thing.
The thing.
Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks. No, the Twitter space. It is. Oh, by the way, it's 11:40. Cut me some slack here, okay?
Hey, by the way, real quick, do want to give a shout out. Thank everybody for coming out to the Twitter space for day 1 of the NFL draft. That was fun. I do have to give a shout out to one person because he was a trooper.
Coach, he was very dedicated.
Coach SD421 on Twitter. He was from around the world, excuse me. And it was like early morning. He was in that draft room that whole night with us. So shout out to him, man. Salute to him.
Yes, he did fall asleep a little bit on us for about.
But he woke up though. He
did wake up. He did wake up.
He was able to finish. He was able to finish the draft. But
speaking of finishing, let's finish up this pod, Maurice.
Yes, let's get out of here. So I want to thank everyone for listening to this episode of the podcast. We appreciate all of the support you guys have given us so far. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And we're on YouTube. Check us out there. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter or X, Instagram, and Facebook at 13_rings podcast. Until the next time, have a good day.
See ya.
Good night, y'all.
Blessings.